Hello, kids! Are you ready for today's lesson? If you're ready, then let's start. Our subject is Science, Grade 3, Unit 1, Reproduction. And this is Teacher Rena. But before we go to our discussion, let's have conversation.
About myself. My name is My nickname is I am years old. I love my parents. I love my family. I study at Sarasas School in grade / I can speak some English. I like to draw pictures. I like to sing. My favorite food is... My favorite color is... I like to watch TV before going to bed. I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night.
Now let's have vocabulary. Now repeat after teacher. Mathematics. Number 1. Decimal. Decimal. Number 2. Point. 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 Number 3. Satang. 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 Science. Number 1. Soft. 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 Number 2. Light. 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 Number 3. Heavy. 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 Social studies. Number 1. Building. 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 Number 2. Tree. 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 Number 3. Image. 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 Health education. Number 1. Energy. 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 Number 2. Bone. 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 Number 3. Strong. 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 English. Number 1. Swimming. 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 Number 2. Cooking. 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 And number 3. Playing. Playing. Now that's all for our vocabulary. Now let's have dictation. Kids, please get a sheet of paper and a pencil. Are you ready? So if you have your paper now, please write the day today. Write the day today. And write NO.3. Write NO.3. And then numbers your paper from 1, 2, and 3. Again, numbers your paper from 1, 2, and 3. Let's start. Number 1. Traits. 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 T R A I T S. Traits. Number 2. Living. living, living. Living. Again, it's living. Living. Last number 3. Next. 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 Again, it's next. Next. Stop writing now. Let's check the words. Number 1. We have traits. 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 Number 2. Living. 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 Number 3. Next. 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 Review. So let us have a summary of what we have discussed last week. So last week we have talked about plant genetic traits. We have learned that like animals and humans, plants also pass on their genetic traits from one generation to the next. And we have also learned that even though plants may not walk and talk, they are living things too. And because they are living things, they are multiplying from generation to generation. And today we will talk about reproduction. So what is reproduction? Reproduction, the process of producing young babies, animals, and plants. So reproduction, it is a process of producing. It is multiplying. So it is when a mother and a father has a baby, or an animal, a mother animal, a father animal has a baby, it is called reproduction. So look at this and remember this, that reproduction needs two gender, mother and father. Mother and father will produce a child. So mother and father, and then there will be a child, so it is now called as family. So it is the process of reproduction. So remember that reproduction, it is not only focused on one gender or one sex, but it needs two opposite sex. A woman, a mother is a woman, right? And then a father is a man, in order to have child, and they are called family. Now the same with the humans. Father, an elephant, father, and then there's a mother. So when there's a father and a mother, it is very impossible not to have a baby elephant or a child of an elephant. And then when a mother and a father has a child, they will be called as family. So this is how reproduction works. So the same with the humans and animals, plants also reproduce. plants also have reproduction. And look at this. Plants need, yes, sunlight. The plants need sunlight because of the photosynthesis. And also the sunlight nourishes the plants, and also they are exposing the stems are exposing the leaves so that it will be nourished by the sun. So the sun helps a lot. But if there's rain, look at this. The sun is hiding and there's rain, a cloud of rains. So plants tend to grow towards the sun, but if the weather changes, they can adopt changes. So even if there's rain or no rain, the plants can adopt changes. So how? Some flowers have adopted. An example is a rose. This is a rose. And what can you notice in a rose? What can you see? Aside from it is beautiful, what can you see in its stem? Yes, you can see thorns. So this is what we call thorns. So a thorns. The purpose of a thorns is that less animals will eat them. And because of the thorns of a rose, less animals will eat them. Why? Because the thorns is saying them, like it seems like the thorns of a rose is saying to them that keep away from me. So the insects will keep away from them because of the thorns. So it is their protection. So that's why flowers can adapt to changes, weather changes, because it has protection against the insects that attack them. Now let's go to the reproduction of a plant. So, can you see the bees? Yes, there are 2 bees. And the first rose with the bees is what we call the pollination. So pollination is when a bee is getting pollen grains. So the bee is very important in the process of reproduction of a flower because a bee is getting the pollen grains from a male. So the first, remember that the male flower produces pollen grains. So when the bee gets the pollen grain from the male, it flies going to the female. So when it flies going to the female, it is called fertilization. So when the bee arrives on the female ovule, so he will transfer the pollen grain to the female. So the fertilization now happens in the female. So fertilizations are there now happening, the process. So when there's fertilization, so what's the next? The next will be seed dispersal. So after fertilization, there is a seed. So when there's a seed, there will be enough reason to reproduce. So they will be now reproducing. So this is how the reproduction of a plant is. So again, so pollen grains from the male transferred by a bee to a female, and then when the female plant is not fertilizing, the result will be seed dispersal. So there will be seed, and there's a seed, and there's a seed, and there's reproduction. Now let me ask you a question. What is the process of producing young babies? animals and plants. The process is what we call. Do you have an answer now? Of course. The process is what we call reproduction. So kids, this is all for today. Our topic is about reproduction, and remember that not only humans and animals are reproducing, but also the plants because of the pollination that takes place inside a female flower. So that's all for today. Goodbye. See you again next time. Thank you for learning, and please keep in mind what you have learned.